So this past Sunday, which was, I should say, the 6th, because this Sunday will be the 13th, was basically the anniversary, the 7-year anniversary of My Little Pony the movie, the 2017 film based on the hit phenomenon Friendship is Magic. Now, what's crazy is within the same time frame, just a matter of weeks, in the upcoming week, actually, correct me if I'm wrong, will mark 5 years since Friendship is Magic ended. And what's crazy is it still resonates, I should say, with a lot of fans. A lot of fans look at Friendship is Magic as probably being the be-all, end-all, if you will, the be-all, end-all of a lot of, MLP generations, if you will. Basically, they set the standard of what an MLP, franchise should be, a generational portion of the franchise should be. In fact, I think it set the standard, set the bar for any generational adaptation of a established famous franchise should be. I mean, this is why basically when you look at Gen 5, Gen 5 started off good, had its moments here and there, ups and downs. But in the end, it's, to me, basically trying its best to really show you that it had potential to be, a worthy successor. The only issue with it was the fact that they were relying on Friendship is Magic's lore. They were relying on the continuity in the established world and characters and all that Friendship is Magic had created throughout its 10 years. And that is why when some people hear about, Generation 5 ending, in its current state, because I think, obviously, Hasbro and Netflix have put too much into it that, they're just willing to give it up. I think there's more content coming from an animation standpoint. It's just a matter of when and where. But, again, Gen 5 tried to rely on the continuity and the lore, the continuity, the world building, the lore that Friendship is Magic had done, that it ultimately didn't do it any favors. I mean, they utilized what they could, but in the end, it was like, it's not, it's not enough. And it's not just because Discovery Family legally, and this is a fact, Discovery Family legally owns rights to the seasons that came after, because there is a streaming site called Cadoodle, and I talked about this, Cadoodle, out of Canada, that has all 9 seasons. They have all 9 seasons of Friendship is Magic. So you don't have to worry whether or not, Netflix or Hulu or whoever has Friendship is Magic, as a whole. You can get the whole thing right then and there in Cadoodle. You can stream it for free, or if you want to buy the seasons, you can buy the seasons. Not an issue. Me, I have all the seasons on DVD, officially, 1 to 7, and then afterwards 8 to 9. And I even have a lot of DVDs, recorded DVDs, dedicated to the specials and the finale and so on, as well as even the season finales to go along with it. But again, it's because of all those seasons, all that lore that they had built up, that basically Gen 5 just couldn't get off on the right foot after the success that it had with the movie. I mean, here's my thing about Gen 5. I think that they had basically, done the movie and then waited a little bit and then announced a series was coming, I think it would have built anticipation, And now I'm not saying that they didn't wait. They almost waited a year, almost, to say, hey, here's some G5 content post-movie. But they didn't wait that long. In fact, I think what they did, this is just my opinion, I think they went with the Tell Your Tale shorts before they did Make Your Mark. And I think that's what kind of hurt it. The other thing that kind of hurt Make Your Mark, and it did improve over time, I think what hurt it as well is the fact that they divided it into chapters or in, different kind of seasons, which is a few episodes here and there. Friendship is Magic did that as well, but they basically give you 6 episodes and then the other 6, or the other 7, I should say, later on. They would give you the first 6 or 7 during the first half of the run, take a bit of a break, do some reruns, catch you up on stuff, and do the second half about a couple of months later. So that way you could watch all of that. I'm tired, guys. I apologize if I'm stumbling over my words here. I'm also watching out for my mom, as she's going to be coming home soon. But basically, they would do the first 6 or 7 episodes, for the first half, and then the other part in the second half. But here's the thing: they didn't basically say, here's a few episodes here and there, or the chapters and and try to present it, as one season or whatever they did, because, obviously that wouldn't have made sense, had they done that. Here, with Make Your Mark, they tried what they could. They tried to basically, do something similar but different, and it just did not work. And again, the one thing that hurt it is, of course, all that lore and world building, I should say, that MLP was known for. That's what hurt it. And that's why when you look back, 7 years ago at the movie when it debuted, it's no wonder people ran to the theaters. Not just kids with their parents, but bronies and Pegasus fans. They ran to the theaters opening night, on some of the in some select cities that had the movie open a week prior, the premieres and all that. It's no wonder they went and saw it, because they knew what they were getting was something special. They knew that the movie, yes, was going to tie in with the series, but it was going to do things that the series had yet to do. It was going to establish there were other threats out there outside of the ones we had known from the show, and that the world was vastly bigger than we expect, and there were more species out there, from an intelligence standpoint that, they could relate with, or they can, become allies with, excuse me. So they did what they, so the movie did what it could, with its presentation, and this is why it's always looked back on, even by the official Facebook page, very fondly, because it's like no one expected a movie based on Friendship is Magic to succeed the way it did, and yet here we are. And again, it just helped continue growing the brand further and further. Yes, could have helped that a lot of what we saw in the movie, like the characters and all that, could have been brought in. Yes, those characters from Sky Star and so on could have been brought in. There's no doubt about that. They could have been brought in. Kree Novo could have been brought in. The cat guy, I can't think of his name right now, the one that Taye Diggs voiced. He could, Capper, that's his name, Capper, actually. You could have brought him in, be voiced by someone similar maybe, or identical to Taye Diggs, and so on. It could have worked. But instead, they kept it for the comics. And that's fine. I mean, the closest we did get, of course, was at the end with the finale, with cameo appearances during the montages. We saw Novo, we saw Sky Star, we saw during the Avengers, climax, we saw Tempest Shadow and everything. So it was nice that, they brought that all around. I mean, heck, they even incorporated, Equestria Girls into it with Spring Breakdown, I believe. So that was nice to see. That was nice to see all that connect in one way or another. But because of the impact overall that Friendship is Magic had, from its movie that debuted 7 years ago this past Sunday to to all the way to its end, which will be 5 years ago this next week, this upcoming week, I should say. It's no wonder when people look at Gen 5, it's like they understand and respect what they were trying to do, but they also see that it just could not live up to what it was supposed to live up to. Now, I love Gen 5. I still support it, and I love it. And, I think they did what they could. And again, I still believe there's more out there that's going to be showcased. They're just right now putting an end to the tell your tale situation, so that they could probably focus more of their efforts onto doing these, like, 2D Flash or CGI animated specials for YouTube, if not Netflix, in my opinion, to help continue the Gen 5 story till we get to Gen 6 and whatever that might be. But again, it's understandable, why people would feel a little let down by Gen 5. Again, they understand that it's not their fault because there are certain circumstances behind the scenes, as I've mentioned, that was beyond, even Hasbro's control. There's not much they can do. But outside of that, you got to give it respect. It tried to live up. It had its ups and downs. But I think as we got towards the end of Make Your Mark, and as we're getting towards the end of Tell Your Tale, we're starting to see, the potential it could have had, especially had it been given more opportunities to utilize the lore and the world building and all that the Friendship is Magic had established during its run. But yeah, 5 years ago, this upcoming week, in fact, 5 years ago, this upcoming Saturday, believe it or not, yeah, it's going to be that. It's going to be basically around the exact time, was the end of Friendship is Magic, as a whole. And 7 years ago, actually, 7 years ago was the debut of My Little Pony, the movie. And together they made a huge impact to the point that even though, like I said, they tried, Gen 5 just fell short, but I still believe there's more to it that we have yet to see. And I think that's why they're stopping production on Tell Your Tale and all that, so they can focus on doing any other animation with it, for like full-length specials and all that, to kind of continue and close out this generation properly. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys, on, it being 7 years since the movie came out and 5 years upcoming since the show ended. And do you think Gen 5 tried its best to live up to what Friendship is Magic, established, but couldn't because of the fact that they were restricted in what they could utilize? Do you think they would have been able to live up to it, maybe even get near the top to that bar that was set, had they been given the opportunity to utilize all that world building and lore that is pretty much locked away, behind a paywall thanks to Discovery? Let me know, and until next time, guys, I will talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.